Alright, what's good everyone? Welcome back to another video. In this one, I'm going to break down the exact trade that I'm going to be looking on in terms of Bitcoin, and today is super straightforward. And I know yesterday was a news day and all, and even though we expected price to give some pretty clean movement, that didn't end up happening. But today, so far, based on how the day has been playing out so far, I think today's going to be a good day, and yeah, I'm going to break it down. Before we get into it though, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Suen. I've been publicly documenting the success rate of all of these YouTube trade calls that I've been making over the past year and a half or so, and currently I have about a 75% win rate. So chances are, whatever I say does tend to be more right compared to, when I'm wrong. So hopefully now that you have a decent reason to listen to this stranger from the internet, let's get into the video. And just to kick things off, we are looking at a bullish weekly bias. The reason why I bring up the weekly bias is because we have a very clear liquidity level up here. And I do think that price is going to reach for this level more likely than not before the end of this week. And well, even if we don't close or even if we don't reach this level, like there is a high chance that next week's just going to continue, although I do think that it's highly likely that we're going to hit it based on average historical volatility that we can see from the weekly chart. If you take a look at this red line over here, this is hovering right about $7,000. It means that on average kind of weekly candle from the low to the high is around $7,000, which means that the low of this week is at around 76,700 and the high that we're aiming for is around 82,800. That is only about a move of $6,000, which is well within the range of average volatility. Doesn't mean that it's 100% going to hit that, but just based on average historical volatility, it wouldn't be a stretch, right? Let's just put it that way. So now let's go into the daily chart, now that we understand the weekly target and how, the narrative is set for price continuing to move towards the upside, or at the very least, right? There would there would be a reason for price to head towards that level and to continue with this sort of bullish price action. And just taking a look at the bullish price action, today we ended up closing bullish, which means that so far today we are going to be looking for longs, right? I did mention that today was going to be super straightforward, and I'm going to break it down right now. So right now we are in an interesting situation because we have technically first level, second level, and you can argue that the third level is pretty close by to the second level. So let's just, for the sake of simplicity, let's just draw this, this entire block here as a rectangle rather than trying to draw many different boxes all at the same time, right? So we can narrow it down to just this order block over here. But just to give you an idea, what both of these levels are basically that because price has given us a bullish candle close on the last hourly candle right here, like this entire area here is now considered as a bullish order block, which means that in the event that price retraces into either one of these levels, right? So that is 79,500 or 79,000, period. If you retrace back into any one of these levels, you are going to be looking for a retracement followed by a continuation towards the upside. This is the exact same model that I gave you guys yesterday. I did mention, hey, yeah, price is going to go, towards the downside. Even though we had a bullish daily bias, the move overall, I was predicting that it was going to go towards the downside, which ultimately it did, right? Shout out to anyone who managed to take that advice and make some money, because once you got that CISD, which again, I was recording the video yesterday while this was happening. To get the CISD, you had 1-2 hours where price was kind of retracing back into the level, and literally entry here, stop here, and you target even just this low right here would have netted you a 2.5, maybe 3 hour win, right? Super simple. And yesterday it was based on a very similar kind of mechanism where you form an order block, you break down, you come back into the order block, and then you go for continuation, right? It's just the shape and size of today's order block is a little bit bigger. Retrace into here means towards the upside. Now, it doesn't mean that you just literally place a limit here and place your stop loss down here, because that is a really wide kind of trade in the sense where your entry is going to be at 79 and your stop loss is going to be below 78, which means you would need Bitcoin to pull quite a large move for you to get to a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. A better way to do this is that as price comes back into either one of these levels, you're going to look for a 5-minute CISD, basically just some sort of proof, the lower time frame, which in this case is the 5-minute chart, right? As price breaks down, you confirm that CISD, right? You wait for a new 5-minute order block to form. Now, just to give you an example of what I mean here, this is a 5-minute order block. This is also a 5-minute order block. So once you get into either one of these levels, you're going to look for price to form some sort of a 5-minute bullish order block, and you're going to use that as your entry, and you're going to place a stop below. That will give you a much more refined stop loss and much more refined risk to reward ratio. Now, if you'd like to learn this full system for yourself, by the way, and if you'd like us to work with you one-on-one to make sure that you're doing it right, so that you can go from where you are right now to getting to a point where you can make a full-time living from trading, then click the first link in the description box below. We have close to a 50% success rate where 1 out of 2 people that join the program end up getting funded or just are able to go full-time into trading. And that doesn't happen by coincidence, right? It happens because we take a lot of pride care and attention into making sure that every student is successful. Not a lot of other programs can claim that, but if that does sound like you and if you've been burned by other programs before, but you're still really keen on making trading work, then just check out the first link in the description box below. But just to get back into the overall video, there is also another possibility that could happen for today where, price does not end up retracing and it just continues to, be strong throughout, the rest of the New York session. And if that happens, well, first of all, we're going to identify a couple of liquidity levels. But actually, before I get sidetracked, first of all, if that happens, then the playbook is super simple. Whenever you find yourself missing out on the ideal entry, right, or the perfect entry, in this case, our ideal entry would be, for example, at this order block. But what if price doesn't retrace, right? What if price continues to run? What do you do in this situation? It's simple. You do something known as momentum trading, where instead of waiting for price to come back, which it never may, you go down into the 5-minute chart and you wait for new bullish order blocks to form. So for example, this is a bullish order block and that is a bullish order block. As price retraces into these bullish order blocks, then you're just going to place your your entry here. You're going to place your stop below the order block, whatever the order block is, and you're going to set a target for 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. Now, I know this may seem like a very risky and dangerous thing to do, but the truth is, these are some of the easiest and most profitable trades that you will ever take, because you are taking these when price is already established clearly that it is within some sort of trend. Like clearly, price is within an uptrend right now. So as long as you have a valid target above, and you have reason to believe that price is still heading in that direction, it means that you're just going to be jumping onto a train that is already moving, right? You're hopping on at some point, not necessarily to start, but you hop on at some point and you get off at some point. It's not to say that you always have to capture start and the finish of every move. If even, it's not to say that you must capture the start and finish of every move to make money in trading, right? You can make way more money just doing momentum trading and just riding the wave and just, or for lack of a better word, and you would otherwise trying to capture picture perfect bottoms and tops. This is something that's not only proven by myself, but across all of my students as well. We consistently find that momentum trading is not only more profitable, it's less of a headache to take profits, or in the event that you get stopped out, it happens very quick. So you're not stuck there, for hours wondering, hey, is price going to move, or what's going to happen with this trade? So in the event that price continues to run, and as long as you have clear liquidity targets, just go for that. And the clear liquidity targets in this case, if I were to just draw it out for you, is going to be right there that I've already drawn out at 81,300. You have another one at $82,000, and you have another one right here at 82,500. Now, all of this is, of course, you have the big weekly one, 82,800. Now, these are all just reference levels. It doesn't mean that I am predicting what price is going to, where price is going to stop at today. Just in general, these are levels that you can take profit in the event that you run into a momentum trade, or you're in a trade and you're looking to take profit. Those are the ones. Now, if I do get into any trades for today, I'm definitely going to post it on X. I'm going to be running a live trading floor with everyone inside the program, where we're going to live trade together and hopefully capture one of these moves. Now, again, if you'd like to join, the link is in the description box below. But otherwise, just look out for my X, because I usually post all of my trades over there. But otherwise, take care. I'm asked to bring my family out for some dinner. Still got to figure that one out. I'm in Japan, so probably not a hard thing to do. Ciao, ciao.